Hello everyone. It's 10 a.m. Moscow time plus 3 hours Greenwich Mean Time. So we're going to start our webinar in a few minutes. Before I start, I'd like to make sure that your picture and the sound are okay. And please leave a plus sign, comment or okay in the chat so that I can see that the sound is okay. Thank you. Right, so I shall start then. Let me introduce myself. My name is Julia Koldashova. I'm an X7 research regulatory specialist. And I'm going to give a lecture today on medicinal products regulation in the Russian Federation and Eurasian Economic Union. X7 Research is a new generation contract research organization who provides a vast range of services all over the world, and we're also going to deliver a set of webinars covering different topics. Today my lecture is an opening one in the set of regulatory affairs webinars, and today we're going to discuss basic legislation, procedures and timeframes on drug regulation in Russia and Eurasian Economic Union. I'm also going to deliver webinars on main terms and definitions, drug labeling in the Russian Federation, and harmonization of drug regulation requirements in the EAEU countries. Also, there will be webinars on pharmacovigilance and data management. So, the information about our upcoming webinars will be published on our website in due course, so please follow us. So today I'm going to tell you about drug regulation and competent authorities for pharmaceutical products in Russia, regulatory requirements for marketing authorization procedures and timeframes, about recognition of foreign marketing authorization in the Russian Federation. You're also going to learn what the Eurasian Economic Union is, about its foundation, and of course, Eurasian Economic Union regulation, guidelines, and procedures. So this slide is about Russian and Eurasian pharmaceutical markets, and it helps to understand the size of the Eurasian pharmaceutical market. So the population of the Eurasian Economic Union is about 183 million people. Its territory is 20 million square meters, and the pharmaceutical market capacity is 30.5 million United States dollars. It's clearly seen that Russia occupies the largest part of the Union. So let's move on to the Russian Federation competent authorities. The first one is the Russian Ministry of Health, who is responsible for granting a marketing authorization, clinical trial applications, or investigational new drug applications, as they are better known globally, for assessment of medicinal products and price control together with the Federal Antitrust Agency. The Ministry of Industry and Trade, or Minpромторг, is in charge of manufacturer licensing and good manufacturing practice certification. Federal Service on Surveillance in Healthcare, or Roszdravnadzor, is in charge of pharmacovigilance, official batch release testing, good clinical and good laboratory practice inspections, and medical devices regulation. And the Federal Antitrust Service is responsible for pharmaceutical advertisement control and price control, together with the Ministry of Health. The Russian Federation regulatory requirements for marketing authorization are exhaustively described in Federal Law 61 on drug regulation, or literally on circulation of medicines. Here in this lecture, I will refer to drug registration procedure, as we call it in Russia, as marketing authorization approval procedure, because the latter is an international term. Russian Federation regulatory procedures include marketing authorization approval, also accelerated approval process, confirmation of granted marketing authorization, amendments procedure, interchangeability procedure with marketing authorization process, and inclusion of active pharmaceutical ingredients for realization in the State Register of Medicine. It's important to mention that all of them may include product quality assessment. Federal Law 61 lists all sections and documents for the so-called registration dossier, which is a Russian equivalent to a common technical document. There are 4 parts in the dossier. The first one is an administrative. The second one consists of chemical and biological characteristics of the dosage form and active pharmaceutical ingredients. The third and the fourth parts include preclinical and clinical studies respectively. Russian Federation procedures and their timeframes. Marketing authorization procedure takes 110 business days or 150 calendar days. There is also an accelerated approval process, which takes 90 calendar days or 80 business days. This process is available for orphan medicinal products, first 3 generic drugs, and for pediatric use only medicines. It is very important to point out that actual marketing authorization duration is about a year, because this includes possible stop times for additional Ministry of Health requests and laboratory assessment. There is no foreign marketing authorization recognition in the Russian Federation, unless there is a special agreement between the governments. Communication with Russian regulatory authorities has a very strict question and answer format. Every justification on the applicant's side must be very detailed and in line with the current legal framework. Let's move on to the Eurasian Economic Union. As you can see in the picture, the red area is the Union territory. This is an economic union of states located in Central and Northern Asia and Eastern Europe. So briefly on the Eurasian economic history. It all started in January 1995, when the Customs Union Agreement was signed. In 1999, the treaty between the Customs Union and Eurasian Economic Space was signed. In 2000, the Eurasian Economic Community was established, and 3 years later, the Eurasian Economic Space emerged. On the 29th of May 2014, the leaders of Belarus, Kazakhstan, and Russian Federation signed a treaty on the Eurasian Economic Union. And in January 2015, it started functioning. During 2014, Kyrgyzstan and Armenia joined the Union. There are 5 member states: the Republic of Belarus, the Republic of Kazakhstan, the Russian Federation, Kyrgyzstan, and Armenia. The Eurasian Economic Union was modeled on the European Union. Marketing authorization approval process in the Eurasian Economic Union can be carried out by regulatory authorities of any member state. At the same time, there is supposed to be compliance with the principle of a single procedure approach and harmonization of requirements. To assure that a set of legal acts were accepted by the Eurasian Economic Commission. Now, today there are more than 26 regulatory and legal framework documents accepted. The Eurasian Economic Rules of Medicinal Product Authorization and Assessment define marketing authorization procedures and common technical document content and structure. There are 2 types of marketing authorization procedures in the Eurasian Economic Union: decentralized and mutual recognition ones. The applicant may choose a reference member state and member states concerned. There also are marketing authorization confirmation, making amendments, and bringing to compliance strategy. In the EAEU, marketing authorization approval dossier should be submitted in the form of a common technical document, identical to the one in the European Union. The contents and the structure are the same. Onto the time frames. As the bar chart demonstrates, the longest procedures are decentralized and mutual recognition in the reference member state. They should not exceed 210 calendar days. Mutual recognition procedure in the member state concerned should be 100 calendar days. Confirmation marketing authorization confirmation procedure is 120 calendar days. Amendments procedure is the shortest one, it is 90 calendar days, and bringing to compliance is 100 calendar days. So before we go to the so-called transitional period phenomenon, let's have a look at this summing up slide. What are the main differences between the Russian Federation and Eurasian Economic Union legislation? There is no recognition of marketing authorization in Russia, and in comparison, there is mutual recognition procedure in the EAEU. Also, in the Russian Federation, most of the documents for submission are paper-based, but in the Eurasian Economic Union, there are electronic versions of documents that an applicant has to submit to the authorities. Transitional period. On the timeline, you can see 2 dates, December 31st, 2020 and December 31st, 2025. Before December 31st, 2020, marketing authorization may be performed both according to the national or Eurasian Economic Union regulations. But after December 31st, 2020, it will be carried out according to the Eurasian Economic Union rules only. Medicinal products with national marketing authorization of the member state can be on the respective national market as long as their registration certificate is valid, but not later than December 31st, 2025. To enable the circulation of those medicinal products after December 31st, 2025, their marketing authorization application dossiers must be brought in compliance with the Eurasian Economic Union regulatory requirements. After December 31st, 2025, the medicinal products will cease to circulate once their shelf life is over. So, please let me finish this lecture by quoting Mr. Valery Koreshkov, a Eurasian Economic Commission minister. Pharmaceutical market and medical devices market are areas of high social significance. There is good reason to believe that the development of the markets within EAEU will help improve the quality, efficacy and safety of medicinal products for the benefit of humans and will remove obstacles to their circulation on the single market. So this lecture has been about main points on drug regulation and legislation of the Russian Federation and Eurasian Economic Union pharmaceutical markets. We hope the information provided will help you better understand the features of a Russian and Eurasian economic pharmaceutical markets. It is expected that the requirements will soon, by the end of 2020, be harmonized and Eurasian Economic Union legal framework will be established and put into practice. So thank you very much for your interest and for your attention. I've been very glad to be here with you today, and we are going to publish the link to the webinar. We are going to email the link to the webinar to your emails. And if you have any questions, please use the email on the slide, info@xnresearch.ru, and we will reply to your questions in the nearest few days. Thank you.